Okay, so hello everybody. Namaste, konnichiwa, bonjour, ni hao, swatika, varakkam, salaam alaikum, ciao, hola, privyem, and a very, very warm welcome to all our global Ikebana family. A special welcome to Madam Chikagi Suzuki, wife of the Ambassador of Japan to India. It is said, if you do what you do and you always do what you do, you will always get what you always got. And if you want to break away from the normal and achieve something novel, you have to be a believer like Albert Einstein, who always said, knowledge is limiting and imagination is what stimulates progress and gives birth to evolution. And today, Delhi Ikebana International brings to you a very creative and imaginative Ikebana teacher, Mrs. Sandhya Agarwal, who believes that restrictions are not an option and creativity is all that you can imagine. Ms. Sandhya Agarwal is Delhi Ikebana International's one of the very skilled Ikebana teachers who holds the first sumo degree of the Sugetsu school. She is also a very accomplished ceramist, and I like to describe her in the words of Picasso as a person who's learned the rules as a pro to break them as an artist. Sandhya Agarwal's today's demonstration is titled Summer Arrangements, wherein she is going to highlight the true spirit of the Sugetsu school, the you in Ikebana. Her arrangements are going to be high on structure construction, dry material and unconventional material, and low on fresh. I would now like to invite Mrs. Chikagi Suzuki to kindly say a few words.
Namaskar. It's my second April in Delhi. I enjoy the most beautiful season of the year. For everyone, it might be still spring, but for me, it's already summer since early March. I've found several striking color flowers I didn't notice last year. I wonder how wonderful I could go and see all flowers without any concern. Today, I'm pleased to join the demonstration by Sandhya Ji. I heard she is a flower artist and also a ceramist. She will show us her own Ikebana world. I learned how important containers and bases are in Ikebana at other demonstration. I guess I can get another suggestion today. I'm looking forward to seeing summer arrangements. I'm sure I can get huge energy from them. Namaskar.
Over to Sandhya.
Good afternoon. Thank you so much, Mrs. Suzuki, for taking out your time. Thank you everyone for sparing time to be with me for today's demonstration titled Summer Arrangements. Now, after the spring where we are spoiled for choice, where there's just so much abundance, you can just, in terms of flowers also and in terms of green material, which is available everywhere. So it comes as a big change when we move into summer and where we really have to use our ingenuity, especially in India, summers are brutal and there's little green material available. Whatever is available also doesn't last very long. So today I'm focusing on a complete change of space from lots and lots and spoiled for choice to a situation where you really have to use your imagination and to create. So here's my first arrangement. So this is a Raku vase which I bought from an international potter show that was held in India a few years ago, and I never got around to using it. Now I've got these. I created this structure out of a framing board material. So I had gone to the framers for some work, and in his dustbin I found these white colored strips lying, and I was like, he must have thought I'd gone crazy. But I said, is this waste material? Can I have it? He looked at me like he lost it. But he was very sweet, and he himself helped pick out, okay, I'll give you this also, and I'll give you that. So this was white color. It's basically the mounting which is used behind and around the watercolor picture. So it was white in color. I painted it black, and I'm going to use Bird of Paradise to complement I'm keeping it to the color tone of orange and black. And I was hoping to get torch lilies, but still not coming yet. So I'm continuing with this whole black and white, the lines on the vase, these black lines continue from there, and the orange of the Bird of Paradise. So the theme is summer arrangements today, and I'm really going to keep, for most of the arrangements, I'll say, I'm going overboard with one arrangement, but otherwise, very minimal on material. So structures which can be reused, if you just, the structure is ready with you, and if you want to reuse it, you can always change the look, feel, or use it as is, and you have a fresh arrangement ready in no time. So the turnaround for these arrangements is really, really little, because it's almost already pre-done. These are iris leaves, just to give a little, to continue the movement, the length. And because there's a lot of stuff happening over here, just to neaten it up, I'm putting the small variety of papers. I don't know the name exactly. And what I've done is, because raku vase does not hold water, it's a Japanese technique of firing, and it doesn't vitrify, so it doesn't really hold water. It's porous. So I've got a little can with a pin holder inside to hold the water. So this is my first arrangement. Nina, you got a picture? I can move it now?
Yes. Yes.
This is a vase which is a pit-fired vase made a long time ago, and it originally came with a very rickety stand, which could barely, and it's very heavy, so which could barely hold the vase, let alone do anything else with it. Again, this is very porous, so it can't hold any water. So I got this metal structure done, which has these two cans for the fresh material. So here what I've done is, these are loofahs. I wet the loofahs, I soaked them in water for 2 odd hours, and then I took them out and wired them and rubber banded them into the kind of shape that I wanted. And once they dry, they hold whatever shape you have tried to create with them. And this is, so it complements this quite nicely. And yesterday, when I was taking a break from working, and I was just looking at this whole, the vase and the dry material with it, it somehow reminded me of a sandstorm, which is quite common in the northern part of India. And you know how the whole thing becomes very hazy and dusty, and it's got these muddy tones. So I somehow thought thought that this was quite apt again as a summer arrangement to show the mood of summer. So I got some started sticks embedded through so that they hold. And in certain places, I've also used wire to keep them together so that my structure kind of wraps around and continues the flow of the vase. Now these are Lagestonia berries, which I had painted and forgotten about. So they're many, many years old, but they've held up quite nicely. So I'm going to put these in. What I'm trying to create is not too much color. So just these two tones of color, the red maroon, but they're not bright ones. Red, maroon, and the tan brown bordering on black. So I'm trying to tuck them into tuck it into the, even though it doesn't need water, but they're too heavy, so they need to be anchored somewhere. So I'm just trying to fix them into the loofahs. Now the loofahs are quite nice because they have a texture to them and kind of a mesh which holds the material. So it's helpful. Also, the berries entangle each other, so that's another thing that helps keep them in place. Now, you can see that they're nice and hollow over here, where the seeds are. So in Ikebana, nothing is spread. We usually raise the kitchen, this time I've even raided the bathroom and taken out all the loofahs and use them. And this again, loofahs can be painted and colored to whatever color you like. And it's a lightweight material. So it's, the other thing that I'm focusing on today with the summer arrangements, that all the structures, whether they are big or small, none of them give that feeling of heaviness. So even though we need structures to be able to create medium to large size arrangements because of the paucity of fresh material, yet the structure shouldn't look heavy and too strong, because that is not a nice feeling for summer. Now I'm just adding these 3 nines orchids to continue with the same color tone. And also try and continue with the movement that has been created by the loofah. Just trying to make sure that my flowers go into the can.
Sandhya, somebody's commented that the loafers give the feeling of Lord Ganesha. They kind of give an image of Lord Ganesha from a particular angle.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
You know, I'm so caught up in with an image that you have already in your head that a lot of possibilities, I suppose, are not even explored. But yeah, that's the beauty of the Ikebana. Each one sees in it what something new, something different. So that's nice. Like yesterday, as I mentioned, I was sitting and eating lunch, and I was just looking at these all the structures up on my table, and it suddenly struck me that it looks like a sandstorm where everything is hazy. So the colors are also, even though colors are bright in summer, but everything gets this sort of sepia tone because of the dust that is flying. So now these are Nandina berries, which are dried up from last year, and they survived quite beautifully. So I'm just adding a little bit of softness again in the same color tone, just to keep the continuity. So that's my summer storm arrangement.
Nice name, huh? Summer Storm.
Meena, just let me know when your photograph is taken so I can move on to the next one.
Please do. Please do.
Just give me a heads up every time.
Sure.
So this is a white, it's a metal container, and white is difficult to maintain, be it clothes, be it whatever. So I have to send it for a quick cut-up. And because the rust had, I think I previously used it, and during winter the arrangements just last and last and last, so it had rusted a little bit. So all the paint had to be taken off and redone. So it's looking nice and white. I've got this monstera leaf, which I folded up. Some bits I folded up. And this is more or less a horizontal arrangement.
Sandhya, have you stapled these leaves?
Yes, I stapled them. And I'm just going to wire the monstera with the red sticks so they stay in place. They help each other stay in place.
Sandhya, you have comments like inspiring arrangements.
Okay. I just wire it up so that it just doesn't move around anymore.
And somebody has commented that you have never stopped surprising them.
It's fun. Ikebana, actually, imagination is the only thing that limits it. And so get to Ikebana particularly, there's no restrictions. You can use flowers, you can not use flowers, you can, I mean, really, what stops you is your imagination. So it's, you can really have a field day as I've had with these arrangements. So here again, there's the element of dry which is coming in. And Monstera is something which is available even in summer. The edges do get burnt and they're not at their best, but still available.
Sandhya, one thing our viewers would want to know is, do you, when you're planning your arrangements or your design, do you first kind of work either flower-based, leaf-based, or vase-based? Like, how do you begin?
I have to be honest, I am not flower based at all. In fact, until yesterday morning, I didn't know what flowers I was going to use. See, in a couple of arrangements, I knew exactly what I wanted. But the rest, I'm very open to what is available, and which is a good thing because in Delhi, you have something, you set your, earlier I used to get very saddled. You decided a whole design, you figured it out, you made the sketches as per certain material or certain plans, and then, and of course, this is done prior to, many days prior to the actual date of making the arrangement. And then when the actual date comes to do the arrangement, that material has disappeared off the face of the earth. So I used to get very, very disappointed and very hassled over it. So that is one of the reasons perhaps that flowers are usually not the starting point of my arrangement. I would say maybe a vase. It could be anything. It could be an interesting leaf. It could be a dry material. It can be a dry flower, a dry twig. So anything, a color, even a color, anything can inspire. And like I said, in Sogesto, you can really give play to your imagination. So I'm just going to sketch it down a few more leaves. So I have the kind of structure that I want. I'm going to add one more element to this, which will further explain what I was saying, how the process begins. So this was, I filled my pomegranate, and it had these really lovely, almost triangular looking lines on it. And then since the team had come up with unconventional material, paper is an unconventional material. So basically an unconventional material is any material which is man-made, which is not natural. So you have glass, you have plastic, you have paper, you have, anything, tires, whatever you want. So this then started out that way, and I really liked the idea of including the triangles with paper. And so the arrangement was planned around this. I just thought gives it a little interesting touch, and it also has the same sort of flow as the painted dry branch. By the way, the red branches are from my Harshingar, and again I was pruning it, and I quite like the lines. They're very lightweight, they're hardy. I stripped the bark off, and then I've just given it a coat of paint with the acrylic paint and a piece of sponge.
Okay.
It is now, Nina. I think it's that
Okay.
stick was cut.
Okay. Sandhya, that was handmade paper that you had stuck to the, right? It wasn't thread.
Yeah, it was little tricky because if you use flat paper, it's easier to stick on the whatever surface. In this case, the branch, the stick. But with this handmade paper, what happened was it gave a very beautiful, airy sort of that perforated feel. But because it's very, very, it's got these holes and cutouts, it was a little bit of a struggle to really uh, keep the glue in place the whole way through. Now these are, I think they are, no, in fact I'm quite sure they are these silkworm cocoons. Now at what process, this is a residue of the silk industry. And at what process, I suppose after the silk yarn or whatever has been removed, this is the residue. So they come in packets of about that big and they're all individual. I have taken a glue gun and I stuck them the way I wanted. And I've tried to again create like a triangular sort of thing to complement the triangular structure that I have here. And then what I did was, now how to fix it, I put this epiphytum stem. I could have done sartese or any other kind of tape, but then that I felt took away from the lightness of the material. So I wanted to incorporate this in such a way that it becomes part of this formation rather than something which is out of place.
Sandhya, can you show us a close-up of this material that you're using? Can you just bring it close to the camera, just one stem before you put it so they can just see?
I've got little alpines over here, so that has come out and then. So it was all white and they've got these little caps on them also. So I retained some of the caps and I found it absolutely adorable. Again, very lightweight, easy to work with. And then I mentioned color. So I kept thinking what color I should do. And I painted it this bright pop of yellow. And Easter just gone by and we've been seeing a lot of Easter arrangements. And I was like, oh, belatedly, I've got an Easter arrangement by default. So what I'm doing
these are plastic, right? These are plastic containers.
Natural material. This is silkworm cocoon. So this is not unconventional material. This I think would figure in natural material. It's not plastic. And it's got a very nice, it's got these little sort of fiber sort of thing hanging off it. And when you put it off, the feeling is like when you take apart Velcro. It's stuff like that. It was quite fun to do.
Then you have another question from where did you get these?
So I saw somebody use them many years ago, obsessed about it for the longest time. And then I had gone for the WAPA show in Jaipur in February last year. And there was a stall which was selling it. And I had gone for a day trip, like a morning, evening to Jaipur I was doing, flying in and out. So I literally had my handbag and nothing else. And then I come back with this big bag stuffed with 10 packets of these. I really looked like quite a stowaway on the return flight. It was a dream come true to find them. And to answer the question about does the inspiration start from flowers or where does it begin? So here I have this material. I thought it fit very nicely in this triangular thing. Oh, I must also show you. So I have continued with the whole triangular thing. So this also I could have had two straight sticks going in, but I wanted to make it look triangular. You know, this triangular thing. Everything is following the triangular movement. And then yesterday morning, these pom-poms were available. And I couldn't have had a better choice for this. So they now complete my whole Easter thing with these now fluffy little chip looking things. And I was really thrilled to get this material. So here the highlight and the focus is on the structure with the little pop of green. So it's line and mark. And very lightweight, very happy. And it's the perfect yellow to match the yellow that I have painted on the inside of the group. I felt that there's a little bit of a hole over here, which is a tad unattractive. So I just put it on a starter stick and I'm just going to hang it there. So it gives it a little bit of a linear movement. Normally with mask, we add a line because it just gives softness to the whole design. But I really had to resist, and line is very much my thing. Of the three elements of line, color and mask, line is really truly my thing. So I actually had to hold myself back and resist the temptation to add a line to it. So
Okay. Okay.
now here again is a story. So somebody offered that they had a contact in Firozabad, and I thought it's just party talk and it never comes to anything. But a friend of mine, he got these tubes made for me. So now I had the tube, and I was in Vietnam a few years back, and Vietnam is very, very famous for their lacquer ware. So we had gone to this small boutique which specializes in lacquer, and she was willing to, she had a very small, she had like a test tube holder in the same sort of fashion with a single test tube. And I recalled that I had these tubes. So I requested her to make the stand to fit my tube, and this is the result. So now summer arrangements also means glass, water, they are the best possible. They are the best possible kinds of vases to use to create that whole summer look. Now with this, what I did was I created this structure. Everybody knows what this material is. It's those white sticks, what we call white sticks, available in 4 colors. But those sticks which are available in the flower market, wholesale market, I've cut them and painted some of the ends. It was looking too boring, and I have strung them on wire. So I made a long sort of I think 3 meter long, 3-4 meter long wires with these on them, and then I folded them to create these squares. So again, it is arrangement which complements the shape of the vase. Now these are iris leaves. So what I've done is I've taken them apart from the stalk. Otherwise they grow like this, which is not the look that I wanted with it. So I've taken them, I've separated them, tied them up with a rubber band, made sure that my rubber band is not visible. And then I'm holding it to create these squares. So again, large structure, but lightweight material to complete the structure.
Sandhya, we'd like to know, did you create this vase or did you buy it as it is?
No, I designed it, and then the lady made it for me. She had these little ones like this. So she had the same thing, which was about maybe 6 or 8 inches big, with a test tube. So a test tube holder. So I saw that, remembered I had these tubes at home, and then called home, took the dimensions, and the lady then made them for me. And then sent them to India. She was really, really nice about it. I got 3 of them made. I have it in a white and 2 oranges. The other oranges will come now. And I thought between using the white or the orange, but I quite like the idea of the contrast of the white against the orange. So that's why I opted for the orange today rather than the white. So again, I just bundled up the iris. So yeah, this I have not taken apart. So basically the iris grows like this, like in a V formation. And I didn't want to do this that way.
Would you also like to tell us something about the wooden structure that you have created with the, I don't know, with the bamboos or?
Basically this material which I found out only a few years back is jute. So apparently when jute is harvested, mostly it grows in West. To my knowledge, it grows profusely in West Bengal. And so when they harvest it, they put it into these trenches and put mud on it and then leave it there for a little while. Then they extract the jute fiber. The residue of that, the stalk on which the jute grows is this stalk. So this is what we buy in the flower market. And it's very popular. It's something which is available year-round, and it's available in a red, blue, yellow, one more color I think for this one. It's available in a few 4 colors, and quite a bit of a versatile material. I like it because you can cut it and put it on wire and create any kind of structure. I've done lanterns one time, so like that shape. Now with it, so what I did was I wanted to make a large arrangement. So I have pre-done one of these tools, so too much to do. Nice. So this is now how I have. So see, a lightweight structure can also have such a big presence. And I thought, and the material, that's why I chose this iris weed, which grows in my garden, because again, it kind of complements the whole, the flowing textural feel of the design. And I've got these sunflowers. Now, normally I'm forever asking for large sunflowers, but this time I wanted the little ones and they were not available. And if you notice, the leaves are quite fresh. So in order to keep your leaves fresh for sunflowers, unfortunately I'm not using them, but I just wanted to show it. If you want to keep your leaves fresh, after you cut it in water, just dip it in salt, regular salt. And that really keeps the leaves from, prevents them from drying out. So I have plucked off the petals of the sunflower because they are rather large. And I'm just using his head, which is a nice muted brown kind of yolk. So the whole structure is very airy. It might be large, but it doesn't give a heavy look because it's airy. There's lots of, in fact, it gives you a whole the feeling of cool because of the tube filled with water and the airiness of the structure. And I'm using these hyacinth leaves. They are also from my garden to continue with the flow. So when you have a certain idea for an arrangement, keep to the kind of feel that you want to create with it. I feel that in winter one likes darker colors and heavier structures. In summer, you want to feel light, you want to feel cool the whole time. So this works quite nicely for that sort of, to create that sort of theme. And this is also an arrangement which you can create like an all-around arrangement. So it is as high, but it can be used on your dining table also for a nice summer evening. Also, again, it's a structure which is already ready. You can just remove the tube, take out the water, clean them, keep them, and at another point, redo the structure. You put your fresh green material on an existing structure. So your turnaround time is very, very low. I have holes on the side of the tube. So these tubes, once I've used, a couple of times I've used them in a hanging structure also. Here I'm using it to handle my material. Otherwise, and I like that because then it goes with the flow rather than very upright. So with this, I'm not able to now. I'm removing the leaves of the sunflower, the petals, sorry. Maybe keeping just a few. Also, what I'm doing, because my tube has a smallish mouth, not too bad, but I'm slicing off the stalk of my sunflower so that it fits better, and also then it can be a little more fluid. I'm just going to have to come to the front because I can't reach the mouth of the vases. Sure. I'll just finish this one first, complete this one. And I've got these Alstroemeria. Again, got really, really lucky with the color. It complements this whole orange vase, picks up the color of the orange vase and takes it up. Otherwise, you have a break, which is the oranges here, and then the lighter colors on top. So this was, I was happy to find it. It was again, just a very light, airy feeling and takes the color up. So the movement doesn't stop.
Sunday, you have a comment that your drama with the sunflowers is amazing. And it's a new use of the sunflower without the petals.
It was just too huge. I did feel a little bad in just pulling off all the petals so ruthlessly, but it was not possible to use them the way they were. Ikebana really does teach us less is more, and when to stop and when to go all out. It's all about harmony and balance and movement. That is what Ikebana and life is all about. So I just very few of these really thin stalks, but unfortunately the thin ones didn't open up. The thick ones, as you can see here, they opened up so beautifully. The thin ones didn't open. There's just so much happening already in this now. that I'm not being able to find where the tubes, the opening of the tubes are. Put my flowers in.
Sandhya, would you like to tell us and give us some more tips on using unconventional materials?
So unconventional material, whatever tickles your imagination. You can do your kitchen for forks. They entangle into each other quite nicely. The bathroom, as I said, for the loofahs. Your cardboard boxes from your toothpaste cardboard boxes. Actually, you can just about use anything and everything. So you have plastic straws, and I'll have one. I think the next arrangement coming up is something which will also be quite interesting. That is unconventional material, and so unconventional material doesn't have to be very spectacular or very special material. It can be just material which is lying around the house, but we've never really looked at it in terms of the possibilities it has to offer in terms of ikebana, or how we can use it for ikebana. Because sometimes what happens, we get stuck in the mold of you have to have a vase or you have to have flowers, but that is not the case. You can actually do it with anything. So summer, that is why summer is a very good time for exploring. When the regular things are not available, and then we really have to think out of the box to fulfill our urge to create, to make arrangements, but without your conventional material. So it's a good time for that. Where is that one here? What I've also done is I wanted this whole boxy look to continue. So I have taken the tips of the iris. Now this you can, this structure, not everybody will have iris, and it's not available, even if you have it growing in your garden. In summer, it's not so fresh and healthy. So then a good substitute for this is elephant grass, typha. It's available pretty much the whole year round, and they're really nice and tall. The bottom portions are a little thick, but they work really well for this. Have a look from the front, so I know that the movement is okay. Little bit, see, otherwise it looks monotonous if the front and the back is absolutely the same. So I'm just adding a little more extra bit of this alstroemeria, orange alstroemeria in front.
Sandhya, what leaves have you used?
Which one? The structure, the ones that made the structure with?
Yeah, just name both of them. Somebody would want to know.
The structure leaf is iris leaf. It's a water-based it's a iris which I have growing in a pond. So it's a open iris, very short flowering season because it gets warm. It flowers at the end of spring, but then it's already quite warm, so it doesn't last very long. But purple and yellow, and so those are the iris leaves, these ones. And then the other ones are also a water plant called hyacinth, the water hyacinth. The leaves are of that.
Okay. Okay. It's a magnificent structure. That's what the compliments you're getting.
Thank you so much. So this is the hook. So somebody asked unconventional material. Now this, getting my second bath of the day. So now here what I have done, I've got these swizzle sticks. So 3 days back, inspiration hit me. And I wanted to do, I felt that it's incomplete to do a demonstration of summer arrangements without doing an arrangement which focuses on showing the expanse of water. So this is the idea that I woke up with in the morning, and then I went about looking for swizzle sticks. Now that I didn't have any, and I realized that I had to do this arrangement. There was no getting out of it. So I called up a restaurant, a friend of mine, and asked him if he had these stirrers, these plastic stirrers. So he said because of the ban on single-use plastic, he is not sure whether he has. Anyhow, then he located it, forgot to bring it day before, and yesterday night it arrived at 10 p.m. And then I set to work. So what I have done is I have made, I'll just explain to you this. I'll just fix this and yeah. So what I have done is I have taken 4 aspidistra leaves like this. I have tied them up with this paper coated wire. I made holes in them, and see what I wanted to create was this feeling of suspension. I didn't want it touching the base of the vase. Then the beauty was not as much. So what I've done is made holes with a hole puncher, and I have put my swizzle stick through it, so that and cut the swizzle stick to the size that it jams across the vase. That was my bottom stick, and the top one I've got because of the quantity of water it's toppling over. So I'm just adding it to just sit in it. So it holds in place. So this is again something which is available in your kitchen, and unconventional, classic unconventional material. Now, since I have these, what I'm doing now is I have these gaps which I've got created between the wheels. So I'm adding the red oil. So they stay quite nicely there. And again, I can put them at various heights. I don't want it visible below the knee. I want that suspended with happy there. And you know where the light, because there's layering of leaves, that light filtering through the thing is not happening. But where there is the single leaf and the holes are cut out, the light filtering through it is quite pretty. So I found that an interesting aspect as well. And I'm putting this one single getting the name of the orchid. Cymbidium orchid, just a single flower, topping it up with more water.
Sandhya, they also want to see if you can show them how to punch the holes in the leaves.
Oh, it's a regular, actually I kept that away. It's a regular paper puncher. I would suggest that if we are going to play around with this idea, then what we should do is get a single hole puncher. Because in the double hole puncher, you know, it punches at a regular distance. You may not want to use that. You might want to, you know, punch them closer somewhere, further away somewhere. So the single punch holder will be a better bus. That came from my stationery drawer upstairs, so I put it away. Sorry. And we continue with the glass vases. Now, this glass vase is a very sad story. I bought it in Italy. This one and a peach one, and it was that much taller, had this narrow fluted sort of thing going all the way, and when it arrived in India, this is how we got it. So it was really not nice at all. But in Ikebana, they have ways and means to hide things and use them. In fact, this is working to my advantage today. Because had it been a tapered long mouth, then I have only that about the size of a thumbnail area where at this one and sodium will be. So now this is, I must tell you what this is. Cleaning. Spring cleaning, Diwali cleaning, any kind of cleaning is basically a huge nightmare for Ikebana. And I unfortunately was forced to do a thorough job of cleaning of my Ikebana storage areas and stores, multiple. And I discovered these sheets. So the arrangement on the poster is also the same material. And these are foam sheets that are used as our yoga mats. You get them in various thicknesses, but essentially it's the same thing. So you have them in the gyms, your yoga mat, children's, those cute slippers that they have for little children. It's all made out of it. So what I have done is made squares and cut out the central square out. So I've got a rim, like the shadow of a square. And then I tried to glue them. Unfortunately, gluing I was not very successful with it because I think with the dust and all, they started coming apart. So I had to resort to stapling, which was not my first choice, but I did have to. So I've just folded them up randomly. Some places there are glue dots, some places there are cubicles, and I've created a structure, like a mask structure. So this again is your unconventional material. And these foam sheets I had lying from a birthday party invite I had created for my son so many years back. So cleaning did have its benefit, and I got to use material which I had lying around and picked the bill as far as the unconventional material is concerned. So now with this, I'm just adding a little touch of white with the amphibian, and just where the broken mouth is a good place, because I have that much more area to work with. Again, structure which is lightweight, structure which is quite nice on its own also, of course it's plastic and that, but quite lightweight and nice, and you can add or not add that. So that is a choice that you can make.
Sandhya, this structure has no wiring inside it, right? They're just holding on top of each other.
Yeah, you saw there was this, that stapling, of course, because see, I can do it without stapling, but for the demonstration, you want to make sure that things are the way you want them. You don't want to bumble about. So therefore, I have, now the third one, my third orchid has no water source. So I put it in a little tube, which is hidden. So there's no worries about that. Hopefully hidden from the front also. Putting one more on the top, just to give it a little bit of depth. And then, again, something which I've had for a very, very long time and used it once many years ago for the exhibition for Delhi Tabana International. These are glass sticks. No purpose. I mean, why do I have them? I just have them because a cousin of mine sent them to me. They actually serve no purpose to the best of my knowledge. But I like the idea of adding this line and also a break from the blue, cool, ice, that whole thing. So I mentioned earlier with the cocoon arrangement that I really have to visit adding the line to the mask. Here, I'm not having to do that, I'm most happy. And I'm adding my line to my mask. I'm just making sure that the ends are tucked in so it doesn't slip off at any point. Yeah. So these are cubes which I had made, ceramic cubes which I had made. And very little material again. These are bamboo strips. So they are cut from a bamboo stalk, and then I have wired them into triangles. And I have it in two shades of blue, and I have a mustard. Now these are, you may call it like an Indian version of Nitomata. These are mustard stalks. So you know when the mustard is harvested for the oil and for food and whatever, these are the stalks that you find lying around all over when you're traveling towards UP. Because it grows in the fields along the roadside there, and they use it, I think, as firewood. So again, I have collected it many, many years ago. Now this is a inflorescence of some farm. I don't know exactly which farm. I got it to my friend's place, and I was super excited to find these pineapples. Unfortunately, only two big ones were available. By the time I said to reach them, they were already sold out. And the second one was told to me like this, broken, very cleverly, a toothpick had been put through it. But anyhow, it worked for me. It's about you. these are the petria radividae. So I started at 5:30 this morning, and it's a tricky one, but I started early morning. Then I peeled off the bark of the stem. You can see that here. Peeled off the bark of the stem and dipped it in aloe. But 2 hours later, to my horror, we started to wait. Then I remember that there's another technique which is to char the ends. So I peeled off some more of the bark and then took it to the kitchen and really burnt the stalks and then put it in that alum water, and it seems to have lasted, thankfully.
Sandhya, dipping the petria branches, the ends into anything doesn't help.
Sorry, petria branches, Meena, I didn't get it.
No, if you dip the ends in any solution, it doesn't hold, like it doesn't hold the flour or the from crumpling.
It's holding, Meena, as you can see. See, I put it in alum, and alum, I think, worked pretty okay. I think I might have panicked, because by then it was quite hot and I didn't want to get into the whole thing of recutting and, recutting fresh branches, because that survival rate would have been worse. So I didn't want to get into that. But it's absolutely fresh, if you can see. It's not wilting at all. So I think the alum worked and I panicked, so I charred the end also. So one of the two is definitely worked, or both.
That was going to be the next question. Did you charge it in the end? But yeah, perfect.
Yeah. So I don't know, honestly, I don't know what worked and what didn't. I'm just happy it did. The pineapple it's got so much weight on a broken stalk that it's just not holding on.
Today, actually, we've got a different side of you as well to see. Usually, we have your ceramic vases, right? The ones that you make. And today, we have a lot of the vases that you have imagined and got created. So it's like a different side, a more creative side to you.
It was getting too monotonous, reusing my vases, because so much ikebana has happened during this whole lockdown that I've actually used my vases like never before. I think we've all gotten super creative. I just need to wire this.
Sandhya, would you like to tell us something about how we can preserve our dry material?
See, most important thing about dry material is that the insects shouldn't get to it. So for that, the best thing to do is to paint it, or if you're not decided on what color paint you want, then to just lacquer it. Just a quick, just to put sorry, one second. So when you lacquer, they are available at the hardware store, the can of lacquer or clear acrylic,
Clear lacquer, no? Clear lacquer is available at the hardware store, and I find that if you take a brush and lacquer your thing, then it becomes very thick. It's like a very, very thick, ugly coating. So my suggestion is take a soft piece of cloth and dip that into your can of lacquer and use that. So it gives a little sheen. It protects against this amount of thing. Protects against attack from insects, and your material is preserved quite nicely.
Actually, you know, for painting, we get the lacquer in a spray form. So, you know, from the painting stores, I guess you can get the can of spray, and then the spray could be a better option also.
Nina, yes and no. See, you waste a lot of spray if you are doing it on like a very delicate material. Then you're going to land up, spraying it into the environment rather than on the object. So if it's, let's say, like a driftwood or something, then these little fellows I found. So if you are going to spray see, if you have like a big driftwood, you can easily go at it with a piece of cloth in your hands. But if you are going to spray something, then it all depends. If it's very delicate and fragile, then of course spraying is a good option. If it's hardier and bulky, then it's better to just use the old-fashioned with your cloth in it and just give it a quick.
Another question that's there, Sandhya, do you lacquer your dry first and then paint it, or do you paint it first and then lacquer it?
See, if you made up your mind that you want to paint it a certain color, then I don't think you need to lacquer it at all. Why put, you'll add a additional work and additional coating which is going to make it thick. So I don't think that is required at all. But so it's not needed. It's not needed at all. This one branch I've forgotten where it's supposed to go. So just going around. Yeah.
You know, after a time, even with the inflorescence, you know, the seeds tend to start falling. So
yeah, doing that now, Meena, if you can see, they are falling off just now also.
So do you do something to hold them, or then you just replace it?
Yeah, I just replace it. Because once the little seeds have fallen off, then it makes sense to try to preserve it. But in this way, it is going to fall off. Whether you put lacquer, paint, whatever you do, it is not going to stay. So you may as well give up and just use the bit that will survive. Okay, that's my last arrangement, ladies. Thank you so much.
Well, Sandhya, I do not have words. It's the most exquisite and an amazing demonstration which has exceptionally been high on creativity and imagination. I think your structure construction, your use of unconventional material as well as dry has really educated us and actually has given wings to all our imaginations. So thank you so very much, Sandhya, for this most beautiful and exquisite demonstration.
Thank you so much, Meena, for having me do this demonstration and to get the mind thinking and go beyond, what nature gives, and to explore ideas and textures and things. So it's been wonderful. Thank you so much, everyone, for taking time out to be.
It's actually truly been unrestricted Ikebana.
Yes.
And on behalf of Delhi Ikebana International, I'd really like to thank Madam Chikagi Suzuki and all our viewers for joining us today and being with us for this most exclusive demonstration. Thank you very much. Until next time. Bye-bye. Stay safe and healthy.
Thank you.